What I have here in front of me in this box is the all-new, first and only of its kind seating depth tool. This tool allows you the ability to adjust the seating depth of factory-loaded cartridges to maximize the performance of your rifle with those loads. Now, it sounds like it would be complicated and take a lot of time, expensive. It's not. It's nothing like hand loading. It's a fraction of the time and of the cost. All you need to get started are the tools I have here in front of me, and you can accomplish this in just 3 simple steps. The tools you're going to need are calipers, ogive comparators, a couple boxes of the factory loads of your choice, the Type 1 seating tool, and your rifle. I've tested this on numerous different cartridges and a bunch of different rifle platforms, and I can guarantee you that seating depth certainly does make a difference in the performance of a rifle system. Now, I've shot a lot of 10-shot groups, but I'm not going to ask you to take my word for it. You're going to come along with us as we play around with the seating depth of these factory loads to try to get this Tikka to shoot a little bit better. All right, before we head to the range, let's talk just a little bit about what seating depth is, how we measure it, and ultimately how it affects the performance of your rifle. So as the name would indicate, seating depth is essentially just how far this bullet is shoved into the neck of your case. We can measure that in one of 2 ways. We can either measure that from the cartridge base to the tip of the bullet, or from the cartridge base to the ogive of the bullet. The ogive is simply the transfer from the cylindrical bearing surface to the nose radius of the bullet. It's right there just below the biggest diameter of the bullet. So you might be asking, why does the depth at which the bullet is shoved into the case matter? How does that affect where my shots end up downrange? Well, let's talk about your barrel. When you close a cartridge in your chamber, your bullet is resting in what we call the free bore, which is essentially a smooth cylindrical bore that eventually leads into the rifling. And so if your bullet is seated deeper into your cartridge case, that bullet travels further and spends more time in that free bore. Now, the longer it spends in the free bore, the further that bullet is jumping to the lands, the faster that bullet is going when it actually engages the rifling. Conversely, if you seat the bullet out further, it doesn't have to jump as far, therefore the bullet is not traveling as quickly when it engages in the rifling. Now, each barrel and bullet combination will have a different optimal seating depth that it performs the best at. Now, the ultimate goal is to keep that bullet as concentric as possible when it enters the rifling. You don't want it tipped or tilted at all, because that ends up in sloppy groups downrange, right? If we get too close or into the lands with our seating depth, essentially when you close your bolt, if that bullet is contacting the lands, we can actually create an unsafe condition, because if the bullet doesn't have any free bore or any lead, it essentially creates a pressure spike in many cases, which can create an unsafe condition. So we want to avoid jamming the bullet into the lands. If you want to learn more about how to use this tool safely and effectively, and how to quickly find the optimal seating depth for your rifle, go on over and check out our how-to video on how to use our product, and you'll find all the information there you need and more. All right, so we're out here at the range. We've got targets set up, just bore sighted this rifle. Now we're just gonna go ahead and fire 3 shots to make sure we're zeroed and to eliminate any cold bore effects that might be present. So we're just gonna do that with the remainder of our standard factory loads. We'll see how that goes. All right, so we are zeroed, we're on paper, and we're just gonna go ahead and start shooting these reseeded rounds. We're gonna start with the shortest amount of jump. So we're gonna start with 20 thou, then we're gonna shoot factory, which is roughly 41, 42 thou off the lands. Then we're gonna move on and shoot our 80 thou off the lands cartridges. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna shoot these in 5-shot strings. So we're gonna gather velocity data, and then we're gonna go check out the group sizes. I specifically picked this rifle because it does not typically like these bullets. All right, guys, I apologize for the wind noise. We got a little bit of a breeze. So we're gonna go ahead and start by measuring our first group, which was 20 thousandths off the lands. We'll just call that roughly, oh, we need to 0. 2.3 inches, certainly not good. Like I said, this rifle does not like to perform well with factory loads. We're just gonna have to kind of guesstimate at this one here. If we use this 1.7, if we use this 1.7, so 1.7, 1.8. If we come over here to our group that was 80 thousandths off the lands, we're looking roughly 0.95. Yeah, right at a minute of angle or so. So as you can see, it looks like our rifle is beginning to perform better the further we go away from the lands. Now, it's not like you can just seat them 200 thou right away and just assume that that's going to be the best. You need to, if you want to continue testing, you need to move incrementally. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good indication that this rifle with this bullet prefers to be jumped a little bit further. Well, there were our 5-shot groups. Now let's go shoot 5 more into each group and see what happens. Make sure that this group will hold up. That way we're not basing it on one single 5-shot group. Alright guys, I apologize for the noise. It's getting a little windy. We're gonna go ahead and shoot our last 5 at 80 thousandths off and see how we do. This group isn't gonna get any smaller, but I have a decent feeling it's gonna be our best ones. Alright guys, well here's the final results with our 3 10-shot groups. We have 20 thousandths off the lands, 40 thousandths off the lands, and 80 thousandths off the lands. Now, you can't always guarantee that it's going to shoot better further. Sometimes you'll do a lot better closer to the lands, but this particular rifle with this bullet seems to like them a lot closer to, or a lot further away from the lands at 80 thou. So we'll go ahead and measure these up, just give them a quick guesstimation. About 253, yeah, 253, and then we'll go 247, and then we'll come up here and we'll go down to 188. Now, I don't even really want to say it, but I do think that first shot in my second string of 5 at 80 thou, I got a little antsy there, but we'll go ahead and leave it in because, well, it's my fault anyways. If we do exclude it, we're clear down here to, oh, what's that? 116, yeah, about 116, 115 maybe. Either way, guys, I'd take that group any day. All right, guys, the wind's starting to pick up, but we have a few rounds left over, so we're gonna go ahead and squish those down to 80 thousandths off the lands and shoot those at some steel. So to accomplish that, we're just gonna pull out our reseater, or excuse me, our seating depth tool. Keep calling it that. And luckily, I did the 80 thousandths off the lands rounds last, so the tool is still locked in right there. So we're just gonna go ahead and pop our rear cap in and give that guy a couple love taps. Pop him out, grab our calipers. Let's go ahead and check. 82, 83. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this thing in, or excuse me, loosen it back. Oh, 3 thou. So I'm just gonna go 1, 2, 3, and tighten this in, lock it down, and grab the next round, install it, pop our rear cap in. Now we're just gonna go ahead and sing through these guys. There's 1. And 2. Once you get the hang of it, guys, this really goes pretty quick. Like so. And I'll just do one more, because why not? Check that last one.